Another challenge for our team coming off of some adversity last weekend. Didn't get it done, and a short week. Our guys have responded to those kind of short week challenges this year with really solid performances. But it all comes back to our preparation and what we do to prepare for Saturday in a way where we'll go out with confidence that we can play up to our standard and try to get a victory this week against a tough team with a lot of talented players on both sides, and we got to have a great plan and be really detailed in our preparation, work fundamentals, techniques, to do the little things right that I think will contribute to us having an opportunity to win the football game. So, excited to be back at home. Saturday game in front of our home fans should be exciting.
Kevin, how have you seen Danielle Hunter's season progress here? Just what kind of impact have you seen him make on these games?
Yeah, I think Danielle's had both. When you look at him and Za'Darius, their ability to affect the quarterback has been something that we know that other teams are really focusing on. Very rarely do they just get clean rushes without a chip or a nudge or something going on. But I think Danielle's had some real moments for us, and like our whole team, like all of our coaches, we're just looking for consistency across the board. And when we get opportunities to finish those plays and do it with. He's got a great skill set. What's that detail look like? What are we doing to help him schematically? All those things come into play. But Danielle will continue to affect the quarterback like he's done his whole career.
What goals he's got in this defense? Yeah, are there things coaches you feel like can kind of tweak with what he's doing to get more out?
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the early down plays. Even I look back at the first drive defensively. Last week against the Lions, we come out and Danielle does an unbelievable job on the edge and really makes that play himself, defeating the block of the tight end with physicality, and EK shows up to help make that tackle. But Danielle just doing his job, being violent on the edges on those early downs, and then when we do shift into that that 4-down mentality where he can be a true pass rushing defensive end in those known passing downs, nickel defense, it comes up a lot more than people probably think when you talk kind of schematics of 3-4 versus 4-3, 4-2. But Danielle's continuing to just progress towards playing his best football here towards the end of the season, hopefully. And he's done everything we've asked of him and been a great teammate, been great in the locker room, and will continue to make a lot of plays for us.
How much can a potential return of Christian Darrisaw help the running game?
Yeah, I think it can help. I give a lot of credit to the guys, both Blake and then Austin stepping in there at center this week. But Christian CD is, I wasn't making it up when I told you early on that I thought he had a real chance to be a premier player at his position, and he was doing that week in and week out up until the injury, and now we're just hoping to get him back, get him a good week of preparation, and hopefully he'll feel good going into Saturday. But it should help us for sure.
How did you see him sort of handle the protocol and having to be patient with sitting out?
Yeah, it can be hard for a guy that wants to be out there with his teammates, and all we really ask is our players when in those situations to be honest with how they're feeling, be honest with not only us as coaches and their teammates, but with the doctors, and just to make sure that everything we do in those protocols they're there for a reason. It's all meant for player health and safety, and we've got to do our jobs in leadership roles to make sure we help the player, even the most competitive players in those moments, as they progress their way back.
Despite the rushing struggles, Kirk played well on play action passes last week. Do you feel like that area can succeed independent of how the running game is doing?
Sometimes it has to. When we're not getting as much out of the run game as maybe we prepare for or hope when you build a plan, those opportunities can still come. The threat of a run game, depending on the down and distance, depending on the formation, the presentation that you give. I thought our guys did a nice job really across the board attacking coverage, whether it was JJ versus some of those doubles or safety help over the top. KJ, Adam, TJ, even Dalvin getting involved on some, check downs, getting 13, 14 yards on a play. All that matters. I tell our guys every week, regardless of what the play design may be in your mind, just know all 5 eligibles could come to life, especially with a quarterback that played the way he did the other day, where he was so dialed into his progressions and the footwork and timing, and just I talk about detail about our football team and doing the little things. I felt like that's what Kirk did a really good job of the other day, and so I think all of our eligible receivers, regardless of position, know that play pass, quick game, drop back, screens, whatever it is, he's going to deliver the ball within the rhythm and timing that we hope, and he's going to do it really accurately.
Kevin, you talked, I guess, both Sunday and yesterday about being more aggressive on defense in terms of how you get after the quarterback. I guess, what have the conversations been like with the coaches this week about trying to make some changes there that might help on defense?
Yeah, I think, my role as the head coach is one where, I'm ultimately responsible for everything we do as a football team. So I tend to look at things with the background that I have from the opposite lens. This is what they're seeing. This is what they may attack. This is where we may have some looks where we've got to make some adjustments, some changes, different picture for the defense or for the offense. Tightening things up here and there. I think all those things have been good conversations, good dialogue. We want to give our guys a plan to have success each and every week, Ben. And I think to me it's about what are we doing from our process of coaches and then these players absorbing the game plan, understanding the why, and then understanding that the techniques and fundamentals that will go right alongside, coincide with that to go out and have success. And then to me, it's how many plays can we stack in a row with all 11 guys doing their job with the detail and the things that we're looking for. And as coaches, being able to make some adjustments and being able to evolve and give our players the why behind what we're doing, and then here's the next phase. That's how I look at offense. That's how I look at special teams and defense. Is not only do you have to have a plan for the present, but also what's going to come, what could come about from things that either looks you're presenting, or maybe things that have been hit on you before, and that goes for all three phases.
Kevin, what's your personal style in those situations as far as going to coaches, whether it's coordinators or defense or offense or special teams or whatever, and saying, this is what I want?
Yeah, I think it all comes back to, I know we joked and laughed about the communication thing and the collaboration, but that's just not when you're building a culture. That's just not when you're speaking at press conferences. There's times and moments where that actually has to put into action. And that's where the relationships matter. We got to be honest with each other. We got to look at things with a standard at which we expect our players to execute, but also as coaches look at it in a way that let's regardless of the reasoning, regardless of the outcomes, what are we doing process-wise to put all of our players in all three phases in good situations. And I think if you do the work to really study it and you have the ability to communicate with people in an honest manner, respectful, but make sure that ultimately, as I said, I'm responsible for everything we do as a football team, so I want to make sure that I'm doing my job, as the head coach, to make sure that we're continuing to evolve and grow as a team.
Is that something you've had to employ more this week in particular, just based on your public comments that you've been more direct?
I think it's a weekly thing, and it all goes back to, regardless of the previous outcome or maybe, however many, weeks you want to look at an amount of data. I look at things week to week in this league and making sure that we're doing what we think it's going to take to win the game this week against another challenging opponent. And that can really evolve. That can really look a lot of different ways throughout the season, Kev. And it's just one of those things that I just feel, if we've set things up the right way, even when things get difficult, that's when I'd like to think the best part of this organization can come out and we can find ways to help everybody's process and everybody just feel that much better, not only going into the game but then throughout as we attack this thing.
You'd called Jordan Hicks and James Lynch day-to-day yesterday.
Yep.
Any update on their status?
Yeah, we're James Lynch will get some work today. We're going to give Jordan the ability today just to get a day of rest before he goes hopefully tomorrow. Came out sore, but was able to go back in the game with that injury, and we're pretty still with it being a short week. We're pretty close to our previous game, so we're going to want to give him at least today. He's mentally, all in on meetings and making sure he'll be around and around Manusky and Ed for the checks and the calls and everything. Get all the mental reps he can, so when he takes full speed reps tomorrow, he'll be ready to go.
Why do you think this team has been able to avoid a losing streak?
I think whether you speak to our players or it's me up here, I think we really mean what we say. Where it's about the process of which we go about the week, never being in denial of reality, because that's what the results, your results of our 13 opportunities are what we are as a football team. But I think the important thing is continuing to attack each week with the emphasis on doing what it's going to take to win this week, and that may involve a lot of corrections and things from previous weeks or previous game. But ultimately, that's what we try to do, is just be consistent in that and make sure we're very much accountable for what we do, but at the same time know that we're building something over a long period of time and making sure we're responsible for the things that we can control, as a football team and as a coaching staff.
Do you feel like your sample size for figuring out who the Colts may be under Jeff Saturday is large enough? Do you even feel it going back to earlier in the season before he took over in your prep?
Yeah, I think you can see some characteristics that of their head coach that have kind of come out over these last few weeks. I think they want to be a physical team, which they've always been, with a really good offensive line, some really impactful players along their front defensively. They've got one of the premier running backs in football, so it makes sense to want to run the football offensively and set up everything you want to do as a complete offense. And then defensively, they've always been really, really good, well coached at attacking the football. They're technically sound, fundamentally sound. They're going to, all 11 guys are going to be flying around, and you've got to match that, both in the run and pass game, protection, all those things. So, I know that although there was a change there, the characteristics of a lot of their players have come out, when I'm studying the tape, and you can see some new things that maybe, Coach Saturday's had a responsibility in kind of instilling what he believes. So that's every coach in this league just wants their team to carry characteristics that they find to be important and help them win.
Matt Ryan has struggled, this year. How have you seen defenses affect him this year?
Yeah, I think that's a guy that's played so much football at a really, really high level. Actually came in to the year the same draft class as Matt. So I've got a ton of respect for him and what he's been able to do. And I mean, former MVP of the league, and this guy has seen it all, really done it all. So in regards to the ebbs and flows of an NFL season, he's handled it this year as he has his whole career with class and the ability to overcome adversity. We've got to play well defensively against him. He's going to he's going to have a lot of the answers to the test just by sheer experience and football intelligence and knowledge that it just ramps up the urgency that much more in some of the things we want to do defensively, knowing that he's going to have a plan of attack every time that ball hits his hand.
You've talked all year about just player leadership with this team, and I wonder what have you heard from the leaders on this team in the locker room these last couple of days and leading into this weekend?
Yeah, it's been they're very excited to get back out here on the practice field and just while acknowledging and taking accountability over our performance as a team on Sunday. You win and lose as a team in this league, regardless of what sometimes can be made and analyzed of a performance, but we know it's all of us putting our best week of preparation of the season together and trying to win a football game on Saturday. So these guys are ready to go. They're going to hit the grass and be ready to just have a good day of prep. Meetings were good today. The energy is as high as it's been in the building, and we got to carry that through. It's one thing to have it on a Tuesday on a short week, but we got to make sure that we turn these guys over. They feel good Saturday, and they're mentally ready to roll for what's going to be a big-time challenge.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.